Hey my loves, welcome back to yet another video. So for this video, what you'll definitely be needing, obviously, is a suede fabric, or whatever fabric of your choice, but I really like the suede. Scissors and a rotary cutter, which I forgot to put in this video. You'll also need a pencil and a marker in order to mark your measurements. And lastly, measuring tape and also a measuring board if you have one. I also forgot to put that in this part of the video too. So here we're going to start off with the measuring board. I measured the widest part of my hips at this point, which was 21 inches. So I wanted to, or 42 inches, and then 21 half. So this is going to be the front part of the skirt that I'm cutting. And I wanted to make sure that I took in advantage of every part of fabric. So I marked off 22 inches to be safe, and then cut everything from there, that point onwards. So now I'm just marking and keep marking down 22 inches to make sure I'm using as much fabric as I can to the selvage line. And also make sure your marker doesn't seep through. I didn't double check that to begin with, but I was fortunate, it was fine. Going up down from my waist to my knees is 27 inches. So basically it's like a square. You're marking a square, 27 by 22 inches. And you can tell there I have my 27-inch mark, and that's where I know how high I want my skirt to be, basically. So at this point, you guys know me. I'm very lazy. I don't use patterns. I kind of just freelance from what's in my mind. So I kind of marked at every point of my waist. So basically how I did this, if you guys want, I can show you a video on how I do this, but every 4 inches down from the 27 inches, I marked where, how wide my hips and my legs and whatever were, and then basically cut from that point onward. So that's how I got my shape. That on the right hand side is my waist, the left hand side is the knees. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead, laying the fabric on another piece of material, and I'm just going to cut. So this basically will be the front and back of your skirt. Very easy, very straightforward. But yeah, if you guys want more detailed of how I do my measurements, let me know. I just do so many skirts, like pencil skirt looks, so not every video I want to kind of explain that, but it's very straightforward. So for the next step, I'm just basically showing you guys here, obviously, the 2 layers and how the skirt is. And yeah, I'm just going to put this aside for now. That's how we're going to end up sewing it. But before we do that, we have more cutting to do, so just place that to the side. And yeah, so at this point, we're going to create the middle part, like the kind of like belt area, that space. So we're gonna need to cut 4 pieces because you're gonna need the front part and then the part that folds into the skirt that you're not gonna see. So basically, I guess it's a yoke. I don't really remember the proper terminology, but anyways, I did 15 by 3 inches, 15 inches by 3 inches, and I created 4 of these. The reason 15 inches is because my waist is 30 inches, and then it's a stretch fabric, so I didn't really add much. I didn't really add a seam allowance at all, actually, because I wanted it to be really snug. But I did for the 3 inches, so it's gonna only be 2 inches high. So it's gonna look kind of like long for your stomach, but obviously you're gonna sew 0.5 and 0.5, so it's gonna end up being 2 inches. So yeah, so I'm really just cutting this with my rotary cutter, and you're gonna create 4 of those looks. So now I'm measuring under my boob because I want to see how wide I want my straps to be that are going to cover my boobs, obviously. So at the bottom of my boob is 5 inches, and the top right across my boob is 8 inches. So I ideally want this to go 8 inches all the way up, and then the 5-inch we're going to base stitch, and then yeah, and then pull the strings in order. You'll see in a second. So measuring at this point is 17 inches high from all the way from my shoulder. So you'll see here I'm marking off 8 inches for the bottom and then 17 to my shoulder, but you have to remember you're going to have to tie the pieces, and that's what I meant by the basting. You're going to base stitch and then gather, there you go, gather, that's the word I was looking for, gather the fabric. So the top here, what I ended up doing was marking the 8 inches and then finding the middle point to make it 2 inches. I feel like the 2 inches was kind of fat. I don't know if I would do that again. Probably make it smaller so it only ends up being 1 inch at the tip for where you're going to tie your fabric. You'll see what I mean in about a second. So now I'm going all the way down, and I decided to do 25 inches going all the way so that you had 17 inches to your shoulder and then the excess to be able to tie behind your neck, obviously. So from the 8 inches at the bottom all the way to the 2 inches to the top, I'm literally cutting the fabric, and you'll see it starts to kind of turn in. And that part where it starts to turn, that's where my boob is. That's where I wanted the 8 inches. So all the way from that point down is 8 inches, and then it starts to gather towards, come towards 2 inches at the top. So you're gonna have to cut 4 of these. Obviously you need back and front for one, back front for the other. Yeah, so yeah, just cut 4 pieces. And you're gonna obviously sew them together. You'll see in a second, I'm gonna place them against each other to see what I mean. So that's basically one piece. So that the tip is where you're gonna like tie it behind your neck, and the bottom is where it's gonna be gathered and at the pencil skirt at the waist part. So here I'm just laying it across, and you're also gonna go ahead and cut it again. And once you sew, oh sorry, we're gonna do the skirt part here. Also, I did do an invisible zipper. If you guys want a video on how I do that, let me know. But that is what I meant by the one piece you're going to sew to the front of the skirt. And I didn't cut prior to allow space for the invisible zipper. So obviously I'm gonna cut it, fold it in half and cut it. So this is what it's gonna look like cut. And you're gonna allow for an invisible zipper, and also keep space at the bottom for a slit so that you can walk. This is what it's gonna look like. This is what I meant by the pieces. I ended up cutting one of them in half so that allowed space for the invisible zipper. When you sew it, you obviously sew it to the edge, and then you're gonna be able to fold it over so you have oh yeah, and cut the corners so that doesn't bulk. And you're going to fold it over like so for the zipper to come out, and obviously that inside part will be where your body goes, and then that's going to be the outside part. And then this is what I meant by the 2 pieces to sew. You're going to sew them against each other, and then you're going to gather it, and be careful when you do this because I broke the string so many times, which sucks, but you're going to gather it and place it into the pencil skirt. And obviously before you do this, I forgot to mention, you want to stitch across, or sorry, stitch along these like little bunny ears. I'm gonna call them bunny ears. You're gonna stitch across the bunny ears just so you have a clean finish. And yeah, so you're gonna gather, and basically if you remember, we started off with 8 inches. You want to gather so it ends up being the 5 which we measured earlier for the bottom of your boob. Depends on the size of your boob, obviously, but that is what I wanted, was 5 inches relatively. And yeah, you want to make sure it's just about that point. And I made a boo-boo, so I'll show you exactly what I did. I closed the skirt before putting in the bunny ears, which kind of messed up, but what I ended up doing was just opening it up and then sewing it closed. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And like you can see, the 4 pieces, 1, 2, for the closing of the skirt, you're going to place the bunny ears right where that stitch line is. And this is what it'll end up looking like. So obviously you need to press it. I didn't press it at this point, but you can see the bunny ears are inserted right between the 2 belted pieces. And just here you'll see the invisible zipper and zipped up. It is such an easy dress to do. I will be putting up a blog soon, and you'll be able to see all these creations step by step, far more detailed, with more measurements and whatnot according to your own body. But this is the finished dress, and you guys can see my little photo shoot that I had, a video shoot I had going on before that. Thank you, or after I created the dress. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thumbs up if you want to see more DIY videos. I'm loving the way these bunny ear halter dress looks, so I'll for sure be doing more similar styles, but kind of different as well, so stay tuned. The summer is going to be friggin' bomb. Summer 2017, honey.